But Dreamville is this is the last one, so please go attend, support. But I just got to say, who will also be in attendance is the green pollen. So if you don't have, if you don't have the right allergy medicine, what is it? What's the one we get? Twan Claritin. Please, it will be present. Okay. All right, but no further ado. I want to jump right in and introduce a guest of mine. I always try to bring on people who have a unique lane in our state and expose their great work to the listeners here. And so with me today, I have a friend of over 13, 14 years, someone who is doing just amazing work in our state and around the country through an organization called AMIkids. AMIkids is a organization that really tries to help kids find a new direction. And kids under the age of 21, usually in high school, middle school, elementary. And it's just, if you never heard of the organization, it's one of the hidden treasures in our state. And so today we have the person who's leading the AMIkids work in this state, North Carolina, Principal Antwuan Arnold. Welcome to the show.
Sir, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, so this is Principal Arnold, but we're gonna call him Antwuan. We have people in the studio already called him Ant. So
right.
you So Antwuan, most people are barely familiar with the public school system, all the roles, all et cetera. Please just tell your story of how you entered this AMIkids world and what is AMIkids.
Wow. Yeah, so story of AMIkids for me goes back my hometown state, South Carolina. Big up to the Gamecocks. But yeah, it really started off as a volunteer thing. I was working with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and then just working with those kids, man, kids from all over, different backgrounds and so forth, and it just grew. And in fact, I tell people all the time, like, I went to school for computers. You know, I was studying computer science throughout, and just that passion grew on me. And it was like, once it took hold of me, that was it, man. So I remember I was working with the Boys and Girls Club, and I was in Walmart. We were taking the kids, getting them prepared for camp. And then I had an individual tap me on the shoulder like, hey, man, you know, I see how you're talking to the kids. You seem to have a good rapport with kids. Let me tell you about this organization, AMIkids. And so they invited me out. At the time, it was out there in Jonesville, South Carolina, White Pines, Camp White Pines. And so I went out there and toured. And I was still in school. And be honest, man, it was like I went out there, toured the facility. They were telling me about it and how these kids were coming from DJJ facilities. So they were literally coming from behind the fence. But what I saw were kids I grew up with, you know, just regular, ordinary kids. And from that, just speaking to the executive director at the time, you know, he and I had a nice conversation in which I left at his office with the job offer right there, right before I graduated. So I've been with AMIkids since graduating, man.
What's DJJ? What does that stand for?
Yes, sir. Department of Juvenile Justice.
So we talk about land breaking, mind breaking, state setting decisions, law, court decisions around prison reform, around safety in communities, around even the Leandro case that we mentioned here. What you don't normally see is the beginning relationship between the justice system and kids. And Antwuan sits at the beginning of that relationship. Before they're an adult, usually that student, that kid, that young boy, first engagement with law is in K through 12. And I want to touch that topic first. What are some of the demographics you normally see in your school? Now, mind you, you are the premier location in North Carolina. So when people are traveling to see AMIkids in North Carolina, they're coming to you. What are the demographics you normally see in your school?
Yeah, so right now where I'm at, Infinity Wake, we're serving high school students, will become long-term suspended, but we've actually grown to where we're now serving the mental health, kids with learning disabilities or what have you, and males, predominantly males, black and brown males. Um, and before it used to be set up as just those from the single parent household, poverty level. But now with the mixture of mental health, I mean it's affecting all kids. We have just as many in two parent households as we do now with the single families. And when we're talking about now with the link to with the juvenile justice system, the thing that we're really trying to break through is how to really reach these kids when we're talking about restorative justice, right? And in those practices of just working through that mental health, understanding that underlying factors that pretty much will show, you see a kid showing like threatening behavior, but what is the root behind that? What's the cause behind that? And a lot of it will extenuate more so with the mindset, the mental capacity of what they're in, the trauma that they've been through. And again, it's affecting all kids now. Like this thing is now elevated to where it's like a virus, man. And it's very few answers to it. And that's where I sit in with AMIkids Infinity Wake, because that's where our main focus is now. It goes further than just saying that we are working with, at risk. I don't even consider my kids at risk, because now all kids are at risk when you look at it, man. But it's really just trying to find those solutions and those alternatives to where you can make a safe space for kids to grow and learn, on top of what they're already faced with.
So most individuals understand public school. They drop their kids off. They go home. What's the process in which a kid would take to get to you? Like, what actions would cause for a kid that had to be long-term suspended to your program, to your school? Help the average person that don't know public school, don't know, how did a kid end up where you're at? What type of action behaviors are you seeing?
Yeah, more so any kid that would be, issues, challenges with substance abuse, problematic behaviors such as, just threatening behaviors, fighting, gang affiliations, gang activity as they call it, any type of defiant behavior mixed in with school truancy, then it's just, a combination. So over time, if it builds up, if a kid has a track record, you say like over time, this kid has been known for X, Y, and Z, all those factors that I named, that's already putting them right there on track with us. And we more so getting like those IEPs, those kids with those behavior plans, and who have struggled. But the thing that you find is that these kids are below grade level. They can't read. The confidence level is low. And now there's a subculture forming to where now it's more, they're embracing that. They kind of like hide from it. It's more of like it's cool to be stupid. It's cool to be dumb.
So we gotta pause on that.
Right. Whole nother level, right?
So you're telling me that there's a culture in which kids are saying, almost as if it's street credit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's the fight right now.
Wow.
Educating our kids, getting them back into the mode of morals. And before we even get to education, just typical values that you learn growing up in your house. You don't curse around your parents. You don't curse around your elders. You use respect. Somebody say good morning to you, you speak back. The pants on the waist, like knowing, like growing up, I knew. Now I look to get popped upside my head by any stranger, if I'm walking around and, they looking at my underwear, you know what I mean? But nowadays, these kids are like, they got a rebuttal for something, they're disrespectful in that regard. But now when you putting that into education, it's like they've already built this subculture, and it's like they're trying to now migrate and form their own little community set up to where this is their way, and this is how they're going to do. But on the other side, I say this, we have set that up for them, because they're in this world where it's fake. They're looking at everything as being fake. Social media, just their friends, that's why they have so little respect for folks because they've been doubted so many times. When it comes to social media, they constantly put out as what's fake about celebrity status, about what they're seeing. Like they see their friends in the pictures holding up money, but they know the real story. Like that's not even his money, you know. So the thing is, they're understanding a whole different aspect of life. They're getting that part, but they're also letting us know like they're growing up around a fake environment. To them, the world is fake. Like they always realizing what's fake. So to them, it's like I'm going to maneuver my way then.
Wow.
You know, and in order to do that, you got to be more of a
Yeah.
okay, this is the truth, Doug. I'm real.
Wow.
You know, I'm not about that fake stuff. Wow. You know, I don't care. You know, this type of thing. But again, man, and my education in the world that I live in, and I get a chance to empower these kids. And really, I tell you, man, I have so much fun. Wow. You've been there, you saw it, right? But when you really get a chance to really have a raw conversation, because that's the piece that's also missing.
That's right.
You know, have a real raw conversation. I'm talking like a uncle.
That's right.
Would do back in the day, like really sit you down on the stoop.
That's
you
right.
know, like look, listen.
That's right.
This is how you are moving, and these are going to be the consequences. I think there's little conversation like that happening now, and that's the piece that's really missing. Like we're turning our heads too much, you know. But it's also a fear of knowing like these little jokers going to retaliate on me. I don't know, you know. Can you talk to them really? But it's a lot of gray areas right now where we have to connect. We got to connect. And we got to find a way to do so with our youth because right now it's crucial. It's a critical time because they're wanting to do good. They just don't know how.
Now, I want to jump into a topic that's it touches that intimate conversation that you were just sharing about. Most of your students are young men, young African American men, young black boys. How many mothers and how many grandmothers are you able to touch and talk to? And what's their feedback to you? What are they crying out for? What assistance can you provide them? I would love to hear that narrative, the parent side. And if there's a father, also a father as well.
Oh, actually, man, it'll bring tears to your eyes, man, when you see that. For one, so at the beginning when a kid first comes in, you hear that you know they're tired. They're all out of options to the point where they no longer have any answers on how to reach their own son.
You're talking about the mothers?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. That part, right? But then as we're working with them and, you know, we're making those phone calls home and we're talking about the progress that they're having. Like right now, I got a young man that's getting ready to graduate. But this kid was destined for, you know, he was doomed, right? But this kid now is coming to the office every day, you know, eyes getting ready to fill up with water. His mom is crying like, I get to see my baby graduate. You know what I mean? So that's a story that we're trying to bring to folks to let them know, like, you can't give up, though. It's a struggle. So in my world, I'm telling you, it is a grind. It's a struggle. I tell people all the time, they're like, why are you so calm? How can you do it? I know God. I pray a lot. I promise you I do. And you have to in this world, man, because it will hurt you. Like, really, it will break you because it's so heartbreaking. And I've also been in the seat and having to witness where families have broken up, meaning mom has given up custody.
Wow.
Because she no longer can hold on.
Wow.
And it left it up to the government, state, whoever, you know, to come pick this kid up. And that is the other piece, you know. And so even still, we have been able to work with this child, knowing that they're now going to a foster care, going to a group home setting. And I'm going to tell you, that's a whole nother lane.
Yeah, it is.
You know, because
what
really can you say to motivate this kid? You know, they just lost their family. So we make them feel a part of our family. And that's why we're so big on family culture.
Wow. I remember we shared a kid one time who put his hands on his mom.
Yeah.
And the mom was scared.
Yeah.
You won't hear this story on the news. But these parents were afraid. They were calling Antwuan whispering on the phone.
Yeah.
The kid is at school. They whispering on the phone. I'm just trying to give you the level of fear here. And the North Carolina Black Alliance, I don't know if you ever heard of them, but please go look them up. North Carolina Black Alliance, I think it's ncblackalliance.org. They wrote an article that the title was Black Women in North Carolina Face Higher Rates of Pregnancy Associated with Intimate Partner Violence. And March was Women's History Month. And one of the issues they wrote about was intimate partner violence. And it says 1 in 3 women will face in their lifetime an intimate partner violence event. In 2020, almost 46,000 women were killed worldwide by their partners, meaning that a woman is killed by someone related to her every 11 minutes. In North Carolina, the rate of domestic violence increased in 2023 compared to previous years. Guns are the most common weapon, accounting for 80% of the homicides in North Carolina, or the death of women in North Carolina. Antwuan, help me dig into this. This is a harder conversation because you're getting these boys before they're men.
Right.
And if their mom holds no value, right, you are on the front lines of sort of instilling how you should treat women in the program. Yes. And so most of us don't tiptoe into this topic. This topic is what we put on the side. Yeah. We just grade the paper and send them back home.
Right.
How do you wrestle with this topic? It's a very tough topic. I'm glad Black Alliance wrote on it, but I would love your thoughts on this.
Oh yeah. So some of the things that we've done just with our young men is we actually had to talk. We brought it to them. Like you said, there's no tiptoeing around it. And it really starts on just those topics of conversation. The importance of respect, proper word choices. So we're not using the B word. You're not calling the women out their name, and vice versa. We don't even allow the girls to do that for the guys, right? So we're not even opening up those doors. And then, so you know how we grew up. Yep. And we didn't have the cell phones. I tell them all the time, like, we had to write out. So if you thought a girl was cute, right, you had to write a letter, put the yes or no, fold it up real nice, slide it over there and run.
For those y'all don't know, he's saying fold up paper.
Right. No cell phones. My first cell phone was a Nokia phone, right? But, so back then you had to, like, step out of your comfort zone. Like, we got those skills early. Right. These kids now, they don't have that. They got a chance to hide now. So my guys never really experienced walking up to a young lady, to really speak to her, say, hey, how you doing, or you're pretty, or I like to take you out, things of that sort. They used to hide behind that camera, that phone, and sending the text, and so forth. So again, it goes back to the roots, man. We got to get these kids back thinking morally, and what's real values. Got to instill those values in them, and so that's what they're getting in my program. And then getting back to it, when we're speaking about it, a lot of our young men have actually witnessed domestic violence in their home. So being honest, like, they're already on edge to see another young man disrespect a younger lady, because they've seen that from their mother's grandma or sisters, right? So that's a trigger for them. Yeah. And that's one thing I will say that these kids stand firm on, most of them. Now, there are those knuckleheads who will decide like they want to fight a girl like a guy, but I tell you, they get called out. Because when the real ones hear about it,
that's good.
And, it's like, okay, you gonna hit me, try me like that, or I'm looking for them, but again, man, it just goes back to, we got to get back to educating these kids. And then with some of these moms that come in, and I've had moms tell me that they've been in that situation, and they're sorry for that trauma that they put on their son. But, what the things that we're doing is we're understanding, but then we put that program around them, and we let them know it's all right, brother. Tell them, I love you. You give a person a hug, to be respectful. Right? Yeah, we teach our boys, you can say I love you. Matter of fact, I got a kid right now, man. Every time he leaves, he's going to dap me up and say, yo, I love you. Powerful. And we putting that language in them, like, it's all right, because that's what these kids need. And I'm sorry, but I don't care how tough you are. You're going to have your breaking moment.
That's right.
And the second somebody come and put their arms around you, you're going to crack up, man, right? Because you've been missing so much, but you're going to crack up. And you might share one little thug tear. Or you might have to turn and walk away, right? But you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. I'm sorry. But that's it, man. That's
And I want to touch on the young girls when we get back from this break. I want to get their thoughts. Like, what are you seeing when they see aggression? Are they excited about it? Are they attracted to it? Like, I would love to see the young girls that come to your program. But on the other side is, come catch us again, Antwuan Arnold with AMIkids. You're on Truth with Terrance Ruth. See you on the other side.
Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you.
You're live on the air in The Truth with Terrance Ruth. North Carolina news and politics, culture, sports, and the latest from the Triangle and Eastern Carolina. The Truth with Terrance Ruth. NC Black Alliance's 18th Annual NC Black Summit, April 25th and 26th at the Raleigh Convention Center. The NC Black Summit, igniting progress, demanding equality. Attendees will interact with Black elected officials, public policy advocates, and strategic partners. Take part in planning sessions to increase voter turnout and mobilizing voters. Safeguard the vote. Join the NC Black Alliance for the NC Black Summit, April 25th and 26th, Raleigh Convention Center. Let's ignite progress and demand the equality our communities deserve. Get tickets at ncblacksummit.org.
This is the barbershop.
Fellas, are you ready to step up your grooming game and have a blast at the same time? Have I Cut You Yet is back at it. Introducing Have I Cut You Yet Barbershop. Located at 6166 Falls of Noose Road, Suite C in Raleigh. We're your one-stop shop to get you ready for Dreamville Festival. Get ready for the ultimate grooming experience at our 12-hour drive-in cut-up happening Friday, April 5th. We'll be cutting from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. ensuring you're fresh and fly for Dreamville. Speaking of Dreamville, stick around after your cut for an epic drive-in movie night. At 8:30 p.m., Dreamville presents The Revenge documentary. Then at 9 p.m., we're showing Friday After Next.
Let me check my Palm Pilot. Look like I ain't doing, so I'll be there.
Enjoy vendor pop-up shops, food trucks, and live music and art. For more info, call 919-803-1276. That's 919-803-1276. Don't miss out on the freshest cuts and the coolest vibes at Have I Cut You Yet Barbershop.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. President Biden, alongside Senator Bernie Sanders and health advocates, took a strong stand at the White House, pushing for reduced asthma inhaler prices. In this stride toward affordable health care, major pharmaceutical companies, AstraZeneca, Boehringer, Ingelheim, and also GlaxoSmithKline, recently pledged to cap inhaler costs at $35 a month. Now, this move ensures competition, thereby lowering healthcare costs for millions. The spotlight on patents blocking cheaper, generic alternatives brought to light the administration's crackdown on such practices. The FTC's challenge against over 100 patients underscores Biden's push against pharmaceutical giants profiting at the expense of patients. The Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America praised the initiative, underscoring the need for broader actions to ensure affordable access to asthma treatments. Now, challenges remain for Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries, highlighting the ongoing battle for equitable healthcare pricing. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you.
You're live on the air in The Truth with Terrance Ruth. North Carolina news and politics, culture, sports, and the latest from the Triangle and Eastern Carolina. The Truth with Terrance Ruth.
Welcome back with The Truth with Terrance Ruth. Again, I have my guest, Antwuan Arnold with AMIkids Infinity Weight. So we stopped at how you are trying to provide preventative measures for young boys who are already demonstrating violence towards their mothers, and even some that are attempting to move towards young girls at the school, and how it's not a popular thing. Like, you even share, hey, it's not normal. Most people aren't going to stand and support that, even at the young boy level. But shifting over to the young girls at the school, if 1 in 3 women will face in their lifetime an intimate partner violence, so you're talking about a pretty large number. So some of these young girls may have already experienced either violence seen by their mother and her partner, their father and whoever, or they may have been in a relationship where they have witnessed violence. How are you helping, or what are you seeing from the young girls? Are they attracted to that aggression? Like, what are you seeing just in your small sample size?
Yes, sir. So when our young girls come in, first and foremost, we've always adopted that first lady theme, right? So we've always been treating them like little princesses when they do come in, and I think that's just the father role in me, and just letting them know that they are cared for and they are protected here, and this is a safe space for them. However, once we get to learn them more, we do know that they have been some circumstances, some situations that have happened maybe in the past or currently with the young males, either with their boyfriend or a guy that they like who has either tried to put their hands on them or threatened them in some type of way or what have you, right? And then we have some that have, and I apologize for those if it's triggering, but they face sexual assault. These girls have already been, right there in that situation.
Wow.
And now, like we were talking before, it's like, is this the norm?
Wow.
Really, right? So again, when we're thinking about this, one thing I do take pride in and helping them understand is that it's not normal.
Yeah.
This is not how it always was, and this is not how it should be. And just letting them get that light in that new lane of knowing like there is hope, right? But just reaching these young girls and helping them understand, for one, their worth and their value, and then for they'll actually come into the office and talk to us about the situation or their current relationship, and we're giving them like uncle love, like this is father talk right now. We literally tell them like, look, if you were my daughter,
That's good.
this is what I would be telling my daughter right now. But also equipping them with just who they are, and just being a woman and what you should not be accepting from anyone. Because again, it hits you at all angles. These women, I'm finding too, when it comes to mental health, that's another area I think that's not talked about enough. There's a lot of young girls out there wandering, man, lost, just as much as the young guys are.
That's good.
And I think they are, what they say, falling beneath the surface a lot of times because the girls are like hiding it in a sense. They may put that makeup on and do that hair, but inside they're crying, man. They're broken down, and then they're in the world right now. You think in high school, they have to appeal. It's worse for them, because they have to have the nails, they got to have the hair, the makeup, or what you're doing. Look, they're getting the camera out. They got the camera in their face. They're making fun of them, and those pictures last a lifetime.
That's right.
And so when their image is damaged like that, they have no more sense of self-worth, and they no longer feel like they value. So it's easier for a guy to be now, get on there because of their vulnerability now, and then make it seem like they're for them, when really you're just playing the game.
That's right.
You see a sister that's hurt, you see a young lady that's hurt, and now all of a sudden, you're just being a wolf.
That's right.
And we helping them understand game too. I'm being honest. There's no gray areas with me, and I don't sugarcoat it. But you just got to bring it to them real and protect these babies at all costs. But if we teach the men how to be men, teach our women how to be women, we would be much better off. But it is definitely there, and it's apparent, man. It's real.
And if for those of you who are listening, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. And again, you don't have to sit in relationships that's centered around violence. There's some help out there, and so I wanted to drop that in there. But also, I wanted to sort of walk through some steps that you could use to sort of help your child or help yourself if you're in an intimate partner violence event. Again, we're talking about high school and middle school. I had a young girl, middle school, when I was an assistant principal, who had images that were taken that were spread across the online world. And that young girl in middle school ended up taking her life. So when I share that number, I'm sharing it because I want you to use it. I'm not sharing it just as a commercial break. 1-800-799-7233 for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. So they provide some steps like best practice. Most people, they have their own trauma and they're not quite ready to deal with their own, nonetheless deal with their child's issues. So what are some ways that you can help parents learn and see? And as we go through these steps, I would love to get your wisdom on how do you do this as a professional who deal with kids all the time, especially kids who are coming from violent neighborhoods, communities, environments, into a school environment that's peaceful. When y'all hear alternative school, you're normally thinking, man, I'm not going to visit that school. You go to AMIkids, there's a kid that will give you the tour. Their shirts are tucked in. They're polite. They're yes, sir, yes, ma'am. People don't even say yes, sir, yes, ma'am no more. They say yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Just amazing school. And you can tell that there's a relationship between the teacher, the staff, the students. There's not this authority of power. There's a relationship of trust. And so the very first one, it says that you should listen and give support. When your teen opens up about their experiences, actively listen without judgment. Now, Antwuan, I have a son, and when he's talking, I'm trying to answer the question already. How do you actively listen to your teen when they're going through? Again, this is your world. We're learning. How do you actively listen?
Well, I guess for my therapy folks that know the term grounding and what that means, I would say find a nice space where if you need to grip a chair, need to fold your arms real quick. I'm telling you, because some of the things you may hear, all right, but you have to let them get it out. Because if they can't talk to you, then who? You know, if they can be honest and upfront with you, and they trust you enough to be that person, be that backbone, be that support, you got to be willing to hear them out. And not shut them down, because that's relevant. That's good information. Whether you want to hear it or not, they're telling you some good information. It's valuable. So for one, you have to be quiet, hear the full thing, and then when I finally, okay, you good? All right. And if I had to, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not cutting you off. I'm just jotting this word down because you just said something to pique something to me. But fully be engaged, listen, hear them out. Even if it sounds jumbled up, don't cut them off. Like, it'll correct itself out, because you'll formulate, you'll be like, okay, I think that's what they're trying to say. But you got to let them get it. Let them get it out. Let them get it out.
The next one, this is a hard one too, so I need your wisdom. It says focus on behaviors and not the person. Antwuan, I'm normally focusing on the person. I need your wisdom. How do you focus on the behaviors and not the person?
Well, I mean, for me, coming from a personal standpoint, I mean, I'm just optimistic about people, and that the fact that, you know, there's good in everyone. You know, you just bring it out of them. But just knowing that, right? So, like, if me and you, and I know you, so I know if you were to be overly upset, I'm like, okay, it's something there, man. What is that root? And that's the thing, you know, when you get down to that root, because ideally, like, emotions will get the best of any of us, you know, depending on that situation, and we all have triggers. That's right. So whatever that is, it can affect anybody, and nobody can really tell you how they will act when they're triggered. When you're facing a high-level trauma or very stressful situation, you don't know how you're gonna act.
That's right.
You don't know, and that's what these kids are experiencing. And the thing about it is, we're on the outside now viewing this and thinking that, okay, we understand. And the worst thing you can tell them, calm down. You acting out. You doing this. That all you doing is adding fuel to the flames, man. You really igniting the fire when you're doing that, because you're not really paying attention to what's happening. You know, and again, it goes back to that listening piece, because the kids are still speaking. They're still talking to you. Even if they are not really speaking, they're letting you know what it is. They're letting you know.
You know, it's wild. There's things that my son will tell me, and there's things that he will tell his mom. And if me and her are not talking to each other, we're going to miss half the kid. There's just things he's not going to tell me at all. And so I'm glad that you're showing me how to listen, because I think the way I listen may prevent him from sharing certain things for me. That's why he goes to mom. And so I just appreciate you sharing it. The next thing it says, stay informed. It said, educate yourself on the type of intimate personal violence, including physical, verbal, emotional, sexual, and stalking behaviors. Again, this is hard, especially when you're talking about the kids, the ages that you're talking about. You're talking about high school, middle school, to have to like start looking for that at that age. That's hard. The very next thing it says, recognize the cycle. It says cycle. The first phase is the intense phase. Stress or emotions build up over time. The abuser may pick fights or show aggression. The next phase is the acute or crisis phase. Episodes of intimate personal violence occur. The abuser hurts and blames the victim who tries to survive the abuse. Honeymoon phase, the abuser becomes calmer, apologizes, and promises that the abuse will be over again. How often do you see those cycles in your school? Is that something that you get a chance to see, or is that a much larger cycle that's beyond your time with students?
No, we've actually experienced some, and the thing about it is, you have to. So it's tricky, right? Because there's always a clue in their behavior, in something they say, mannerisms, what have you. But there's always like leading. There's steps. There's steps, and it builds. It builds. It could be, for some of our students, it could be, man, look, I'm tired of this kid talking about me. I'm tired of being around these immature kids. Till now it comes to, look, next person say something to me, it's gonna be on. Till, that's what it was. They got into a scuffle. He was upset. But then when you really talk to a kid and so forth, you're finding out like, all this has been built up. A thing that I'm finding more so, they have so much built up in them. But when we see them, it's like, why y'all so angry?
Wow, that's good.
Why y'all so angry for? Like, we literally ask, what you angry about? How you wake up in the morning at 8 o'clock and you already mad, man? What's going on? But if you look at their situation, they didn't eat.
That's really good.
They had to listen to people fight all night.
That's really good.
You know, they didn't get enough sleep because now they woke up from, whatever happened.
That's actually really good.
That's traumatic. And then now they got to get up and go to school. And look, we telling them, look, man, tuck your pants, pull your pants up. Already jumping on them. So it's like, look, man, listen.
That's good.
They got a lot built up in them, and they don't know how to release that stress. Because what I'm finding is these kids don't really know how to properly communicate. And I'm not saying all kids, because some of them do, but on a majority, they don't know how to really say, I'm hurting. Because to them, that sounds weak. I'm sad, I'm broken right now, I feel like crying. They're not going to say those. Our young ladies may, but the fellas are not doing that. What they're going to do is they're going to ball up, they're going to put the hoodie on, they're going to have their head down, or they're going to, I need to walk, I'm ready to leave. Call my mom, I'm ready to get out of here. Or the next person say something to me, it's going to be on. That type of language that we would really say, this kid is aggressive, man. He's a fighter. But the thing is, those factors that add up to that, man. When a kid is really beat down and we have yet to even understand what that is or even know about it, because they're not really telling us.
That's good.
That's the part that we're going to get. We're getting the after effect, the part that's being built up.
What's baffling to me is the school that you are a part of, and we were co-workers for a long time in that same school. You really don't get any guest visitors. Like I remember people were shocked that I was a principal. They was like, "Man, you was a principal before?" Yeah, the school I was at, you didn't come and visit. You wouldn't sign up to do that field trip. But the part that's wild to me is that those are the kids that need the most emotional support. They need the most volunteers. They need a ratio of like 5 adults to 1 student. Like those are the students that actually need that smaller ratio of support. And not all of it is just hard academic content. Some of it is just how to communicate, how to have emotional intelligence, how to be in touch with the response that your actual body is having to the violence. Some of these kids just need that. And so they said, understand the risk factor. They said younger age, partner violence often begins during adolescence and young adult. Most people think this is an adult issue. This is actually a K through 12 issue. The next one, it says women, especially during their childhood years. Childhood years. We want to help the woman when she's grown. It says during the childhood years. Antwuan, I mean, you have kids under the age of 10. Yeah. It is now that they're telling you that this is how you provide the intervention. It says, especially during childhood years, are particularly at risk. This also affects children. So the young girl that's not a woman has children. The children are now experiencing indirectly or directly that same violence. So that pattern continues. How can people plug into your school, learn more, provide services? How can they be of help to alternative schools, to the lived experience of these kids? How can they do that? What are ways in which they can plug into your universe?
Oh, yeah. So we're right now Facebook, AMIkids, Infinity Wake County, excuse me. Because if you just put it AMIkids, because we have 45 different programs in 9 different states. So you're going to get a whole 45 programs. But the local one right here where I serve is in Raleigh, AMIkids, Infinity Wake County. And then also we have our Instagram there, AMIkids, Infinity_Wake. You can catch us there. And then our webpage that we just launched, the new branding, you can check us out just by putting in AMIkids, Infinity Wake County. And you'll be able to see all of it, student testimonials, what have you. You can actually go to our YouTube. You can just pull up AMIkids across and just hear those testimonials. You really want to hear something special that really will touch you. Just put on YouTube and just put in AMIkids, and you'll see those student testimonials. And I'm telling you, when you want to really hear something, you really want to connect with the young people and really get a chance to really understand them, what they're talking about, listen to the stories of those kids, man. It's all across, all 9 states that we serve. Students are being represented, but we're right there across from down Sunnybrook, adjacent from Holly Hill Hospital on Carl Sandburg Court. And when you see the building, you'll see Carl Sandburg Academy, but they know us as Infinity Wake. But yeah, we love to schedule a tour. Look me up, Antwuan Arnold. I'm on LinkedIn as well. I love to connect with any and all nonprofit leaders, any leader, anyone that's passionate about kids. Come check us out.
And again, before we go on break, I want to just give that number again, 1-800-799-7233, 1-800-799-7233. This is the National Domestic Violence Hotline, okay? National Domestic Violence Hotline. And when we get back from this break, Antwuan still be with us. We got to talk a little bit about the pack, okay, the Final Four. So we'll see you on the other side. See you later.
Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you.
You're live on the air, and the truth with Terrance Ruth. North Carolina news and politics, culture, sports, and the latest from the Triangle and Eastern Carolina. The truth with Terrance Ruth.
What are you doing?
I'm training for the new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs. I could get a chance to dash through a warehouse full of prizes.
That explains the shopping cart.
Plus, I could win up to $2 million in cash.
And that explains the tuxedo.
I'm chafing.
Feel the rush with new Ultimate Dash Scratch-Offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 3.78. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you missed the James Gaillard Show on Choice FM, here's what you missed.
Our guns have more laws defending them than our children do. The gun in your cabinet, the gun at my house, the gun that I keep on my person, my Glock 43X, it has more laws protecting it than a woman does in the midst of domestic violence, than a child does in the midst of abuse. So something is fundamentally wrong with that.
The James Gaillard Show, Mondays at 5 on Choice. North State Banks, The Breakfast Club.
The icon living. Joey Crack Fat Joe.
Why fight the time when you can rewind the time?
No, that's fine.
We made this ammonia free. This won't break you out. You know how you got some people with the grays, they fronting like they like the gray? It's because the other brands will break them out.
I do just for men.
No, it's over for them.
I will say, this is the realest it's looked. Natural. I'm serious. So if it's the rewind making it look like that, Joe, salute
Don't do
rewind.
I got a
rewind.
different conspiracy for it, right?
Right.
I just think my be so sharp that they think it's fake. You know what I'm saying? But it just be like, maybe I'm hallucinating. You know how you look in the mirror?
Joe. Nah,
be skinny thinking you want to lose weight? I think it always look good.
North State Bank presents The Breakfast Club on Choice FM. Charlemagne the God, Just Hilarious, and DJ Envy. North State Bank's The Breakfast Club. North State Bank, better every day.
Every time I step in the booth, I speak the truth. Y'all know what I'm bringing to you.
You're live on the air. And The Truth with Terrance Ruth. North Carolina news and politics, culture, sports, and the latest from the Triangle and Eastern Carolina. The Truth with Terrance Ruth.
Welcome back. Now, I gotta move to NC State versus Gamecocks because one, Antwuan has been a South Carolina Gamecock fan since Clowney. Okay? Since Clowney. Now, Clowney's been in the NFL. He's an old man in the NFL now. So, Antwuan has been loyal. So, NC State's slogan for this Final Four is, why not us? Why not us? And again, we have both the women and the men. Today, I want to talk about the women for a second. Because Gamecock came to Raleigh, North Carolina, game 1, about 2 years ago. We were ranked number 2, they were ranked number 1. And they destroyed us. They destroyed it. And I was talking so much trash to Antwuan. I was talking so much trash. And he didn't say nothing. He knew what was coming to town. He didn't say a single thing. So this is my chance to get my whole credit back from that game. Okay, so that's this weekend, I think. I think that's this weekend. Yeah, Friday. That's this weekend.
It's now Friday.
So tomorrow he will get a call from me, everybody. On the game, but I'll give you a chance to talk about your game, I'll give you a chance to talk about your team. You are a good team. I'll give you a chance to just shine a little light. He even got the hoodie on, y'all.
This is not planned. This is not planned. It just happened. You know, it just spoke to me. I need to put this on today. This is why. But yeah, big salute to what those ladies are doing, man. A native of Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm just proud of them. I'm proud of the coach. Big up to Dawn Staley for what she's doing for just women in general, women basketball. I mean, she's taking it to a whole nother level. So, you know, to my NC State people, you know, I cut a lot of people off this week. Yes, I did. I really did. You know, but I still love y'all, but just not this week. You know, after the game. But I did tell some people, look, if we lose, just cancel me, man. You know, we're not even friends no more. Delete my number, what have you, man. But you know, for what women are doing in basketball, man, it's a major salute because they got us glued to the TV now. Like, look, man, we talking about the women's games. We're not even talking about NBA or anything. So that's how powerful this movement is right now. But definitely, man, I'm rooting for them. You know, I do have ties to NC State, so all you listening, you know, I don't want y'all to think, oh, he hates NC State, he lives in Raleigh. What kind of mess is that? You know, but I just love it for what it's doing for the sport, for what it's doing for women. But I am going to go with my girls, you know, so big up to the Lady Gamecocks, man.
Now, you know, my ultimate revenge. He has 3 girls. I'm praying that they get a scholarship to NC State. That's my ultimate revenge. All right. So, but I also on the other side, DJ Burns is just playing out of his mind. I don't even know what else to say. And I again, everyone know I teach at NC State, and one of the students is in my African American Studies class. One of the players on the team, and he wrote me an email this week. Can I get an extension on the assignment because I'm at the Final Four? I'm like, man, yeah, you got. No, but what's hard to imagine is the intensity of their workouts that they have to go through to be a student athlete. I have all props for Division I, Division II, or III student athletes. It is no joke. Okay, it is no joke. Now, Antwuan, you play AAU. You have a really good jump shot. I'm gonna give you that. Your jump shot is really nice. Can you explain what it means to perfect that art of basketball? Most people just think these kids grew up this way and they just go on the court and they play. But like, can you explain that AAU life and like what does it mean to perfect your game in that space?
Oh, man, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You're not putting in the work. When you think about it, I mean, you go back to the old videos of Kobe. You see, I grew up in the Jordan era, but you talking about guys that didn't know how to quit, wouldn't even allow, the fact that they lost to even cross their mind. Like, they're gonna study you to the very end. They know everything about who they're playing and what have you, but it's just your craft, just perfecting your game. And I tell my kids that all the time, like even in life, it's the same thing. It's the same technique. You perfecting who you are, your skill sets, your level of expertise. And you're not for one of doubt, get comfortable with that. So for any athlete that's out there and just putting in that grind and that work, like you're doing it for that reason, man, because I take it like this. While you out there working, the other person's sleeping. Or they working just as hard as you. So, no matter how, you want to motivate yourself and knowing that, like, if you're comfortable, they're working hard. That's right. So the grind is real, the struggle is real, and it always pays off. You never once seen Kobe or Jordan walk off that court and upset with themselves and their level of performance. And if it was, guess what? They were right back in that gym that night and doing it. And they were giving it to the team the same way. So it's all about what you want. What do you want to accomplish? You want to be subpar, mediocre, or you want to take your game to the highest form, and you looking for people to like, who's going to catch me? Lion mentality. We spoke about that today at the school, matter of fact. Lion mentality. That's what it is.
And I want to, we only have a few minutes left, and I want to pivot to a story that has made national and statewide news. Liberation Station Bookstore in Raleigh, North Carolina. It made news because it was North Carolina's first Black-owned children's bookstore. And it has hit all the top news has covered their launch in 2023. So they actually launched Juneteenth, 2023. They opened. Liberation Station Bookstore opened its doors on Juneteenth, 2023 at 208 Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh. It was just a bright and intimate space dedicated to children's books with illustrations of like Black faces and Black writers and authors. Really, it was amazing. It was an amazing space. But what we found this week is that they are closing their doors. They're closing their doors due to threats and the emotional toll. This has made national news, statewide news, obviously local news. The first Black-owned children's bookstore is closing after a year. And so, unfortunately, the family behind the Liberation Station face a distressing reality. Since September, they have encountered numerous threats following the store's opening. Some threats was brushed off, but others included a disturbing phone call. And the emotional toll was immense, prompting the family to take a break. And even during that break, they had made a decision that April 30th, it will be their last day at that location. And so this closure won't mark the end of the Liberation Station. The owner, Victoria, has emphasized that there is much work to be done. If you know Victoria, you know a fighter. So we wish all the best to Victoria. That's my spotlight for today. Please bring your support. She's active on Instagram, Liberation Station Victoria. Please, I think Ben Crump is representing her now on this issue. Again, there's some people on the front line, like Principal Arnold that's here in the studio with me, but also those who are just for-profit companies like Victoria. And so no details have really, been released, but we just want to make sure that we don't have to do a first Black-owned anything again. And so we want to encourage those who want to lead in this book space where we're seeing bans on books, bans on what to teach about history. I just thank Victoria and her family for bringing that to North Carolina. And so with that, I want to just say Dreamville's this weekend. The Final Four this weekend. No, Elite Eight. I'm sorry, Elite Eight. Elite 8 is this weekend. Elite 8 is this weekend. And then the very last thing, Dreamville and the Green Pollen is this weekend as well. So you can go ahead and get your tickets. I was told by Antwuan that it's Chris Brown and not 50. It's 50 Cent, not Chris Brown. Jeez, I didn't want y'all to go start buying tickets again. But no, y'all enjoy this weekend. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend. I always appreciate your support. For those of you who are experiencing intimate personal violence, please seek help. And those parents who are parenting children going through that, please listen and actively listen so you can help. But again, I always love to be with you on these Thursdays at 5. Join me next Thursday with Terrance Ruth on The Truth. Thank you again, everyone.
Every time I step in the booth,